And so the conversation then moved on to me asking the emissaries, so these dark forces, can they attach themselves to people? Hello, you gorgeous people and peopleettes. How the dickens are you today? Today I'm going to talk about a little bit about the emissaries and how they're made up. Okay? And also then I'm going to talk a lot about the bad elements of this world, the dark entities, and how they're made up, and what the emissaries have told me about them. Something really interesting. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So I want to share with you the first conversation I had with the emissaries. I was just asking them how they were going, how everything's going, and they said, we're loving it. It sounds like an advert, doesn't it? You're loving it. We're loving it, they said. We are having the opportunity of fulfilling our purpose right now. And I asked them, when you talk about we, do you consider yourself one or many? And they said, yes, both. And I had a little laugh. Yes, we're both. We are one and we are many. And what they said is that we expand and we contract according to the needs, according to the work that's there. And so at the moment, what they say is that they're having to expand a lot. They're having to call in reinforcements. And so it's just good to hear that they are busy. That's what I want to hear. They're busy. They're doing the do. They're doing the stuff. And that's what I like to hear. And they're there. All you need to do is call out to them, by the way. That's all that you need to do. Call out to them, ask for the help, and they will come in the way that's right for you. It isn't necessarily that everybody's going to be channeling them or whatever, but they have the go-ahead when you call out to them to help you. So do it. And then I had another conversation, and I asked them how they were, and they said, we are here fighting the good fight. Okay? And I thought, I'm going to ask him about that. And I said, so what sort of fight is it? And they said, well, it's not so much a fight. It's more like a wrestle. And instantly I was reminded of a scripture, which I think is in Ephesians. And the scripture goes like this. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Do you know that scripture, if that was the only one that was in the Bible, I would say that book's true. That book is true. It couldn't be more accurate about where we are now. Spiritual wickedness in high places, and boy, have we seen that. And so that got me to thinking. I thought, I'm going to just find out a little bit more about this wrestling match that's going on. And so I said to them, what is it like wrestling with the darkness? And they said, the darkness in this plane is stronger than we are. And they said, it's stronger because this is their domain. This was given to them. Reminds me of something in the Bible as well. But they said, this was given to them. This is their domain. And they said, so when they are here in this realm, we cannot fight against them in that way. They're too strong. You know, the emissaries are from another, and all of the beings that do that kind of work, they're from a much higher vibe. Here it's low level vibe. And so the baddies, the dark forces are strong here. And they said, so when somebody has gone over to the dark side, okay, they said that we cannot reach them. We can't reach them because they are impervious to our energies, because the dark side's so strong. And boy, we are witnesses. We are witnesses to that, are we not? That when, have you ever talked to somebody who's definitely like really sold themselves to that side? You can't reach them. You can't. You can't even look into their eyes and see them. It's like they're not there. They went on to say, our influence is only has strength when somebody rejects that, when they reject the darkness, when they turn their back on it. Because again, the darkness only has strength as long as you give it permission, as long as you give it your energy. And if you don't, if you turn your back on it, this is what the emissaries have said for years. Turn your face away from it. Turn your face away from it. It stops it. stopped the energy flow. And they said that's when they can come in and they can start to help somebody. But they've got to turn away from it. As long as they stay affiliated to the darkness, they can't be touched. And so the conversation then moved on to me asking the emissaries, so these dark forces, can they attach themselves to people? And they said yes. And they give me some sort of categories of how they work. The first one they said is, yes, they can attach themselves to people, but it's like, you know in the classic sort of cartoons that you see, little devil on one shoulder and a little angel on that shoulder, and the devil's always whispering in. That's exactly how they said it. They attach themselves and they become like a little whisper in somebody's ear, constantly whispering and guiding them and telling them what to do. And they said that constant whispering can affect people's actions, make them do things that perhaps normally they wouldn't do. Then they said that they can attach to people and make them do things physically. And they said, can you remember? Because what happened to me was when the emissaries first came to me, they had to get my attention. And how they got my attention was by moving my body. They actually moved me. And what they're saying is that these dark forces can make people do things that they wouldn't do normally, and these can be physical things that they wouldn't do. I just get the sense that maybe people who hurt somebody or who do an act of violence that's out of character could be that. But that's what they're saying, is that they're able to move people's bodies, almost like make them into a bit of a marionette. But then I said, but can they actually take over somebody, take over the living quarters of somebody? And they said, yes, they can. It isn't common, they said, for one of these entities to take over completely. They said the reason that it's not common is that it takes a tremendous amount of energy for them to do that. And they said they can't remain in the body all of the time. They've got to leave to replenish themselves, because it takes a tremendous amount of effort to actually take over. But they said when they do that, the soul actually comes out of the body. It's not attached. It's like living an out-of-body existence whilst this being, this whatever it is, starts to live and control them. And I was saying, you said beings like, are they all separate, or what is there? Is there one boss or whatever? And they said they are exactly like we are. They can be many and there can be one, depending on the work that they've got to do. So that's the explanation. But what they said was really interesting. And they said, when a being has taken over somebody's body completely, it takes so much energy. They said this is why they get them to do rituals. A lot of rituals, they said, because the ritual in itself feeds that being. It feeds them, it gives them strength. And that's why the ritual is so important. It's to recharge the batteries. That's why they're always doing them. They just all ever talk about is, this ritual. That's why we see them everywhere now. They're recharging the batteries. And so they are the 3 levels of possession, if you want to call it that. However, on a lighter note, I've got a theory about all of this. I've got a theory about this. I've worked with people who I perceived to maybe believe that they were possessed, or believe that they had very, very negative entities attached to them. And I've never ever been concerned. I've never worried that they might attach to me. I've never got the sense that they have. Right? Now I could say, because I'm protected. No, I think it's because it's a vibration. It's a frequency. And the emissaries have said this before, that when you are keeping your vibe high, there is nothing for those beings to attach to. It's like you're slippy. They slip off. They've got no attachment. My guess is that very low negative vibration gives them something to get a hold of. And so I've always just used the mantra that whenever I've gone into anything where I thought maybe there's something, not quite right here, I just say, I do this for the highest good of everybody. I do this for the highest good of all concerned. when you do something with the intention of the highest good, you can't get any higher than that, because that's the highest. And you've used the word good, which is God. So you protect it. In my book, you protect it. Go in always. If you ever feel like, I'm not sure about this, just say, I'm doing this for the highest good of all. You know, I'm here working for the highest good of all. And then they can't touch you, because automatically you've raised your vibe. You're in a better place. And God only knows we need it, don't we? In this world at the moment, filled with stupidity. So let's keep on keeping on. By the way, put in the comments if you have any mantras that you use, or any kind of spells of protection, what you use to protect yourself if you ever get the sense that you're in a dodgy place. I'd be really interested to know, and it'd be good for everybody else to see, because sometimes, for example, for me, for the highest good of all resonates so strongly with me, I feel that it protects me. Whereas maybe somebody else might read something like you write and think, wow, I like that, I'm going to use that. Whatever, it's got to resonate with you. Okay, that's all I've got to say on that for the moment. I love you all, and I'll speak to you all later. Have a lovely week.